The number one thing that women look for in a man is trustworthiness. And this is based on research by the Gottmans, who wrote this book. You may have heard of the Gottman Institute, the doctors Gottman, who came up with the 4 horsemen in the 70s. They can predict with 94% accuracy when they observe a couple whether they will be divorced a few years later based on how they interact with each other. I just want to go over that real quick. They're the 4 horsemen. Bad things to do in a relationship: stonewalling, contempt, defensiveness, and criticism. Those are going to gnaw away at your relationship. And also ignoring bids for connection. Your partner wants your attention or talks to you, you ignore, invalidate, dismiss, reject. Those also tear away at the fabric in a relationship. But when it comes to even starting a relationship, trustworthiness is the main thing that women look for. Can we trust you? Do we feel safe with you? That's what we look for. That's what we evolved to look for. Now, what is trustworthiness? Trustworthiness is you are who you say you are, and you do what you say you're going to do. It's about being reliable, accountable, and showing up just as who you are. And we evolved to look for that more than men do, actually. We evolved to look for that because throughout history and evolution, our safety and well-being, as well as that of our children, were dependent on selecting trustworthy partners. Fathers are the most critical factor in the health and success of children. And so we want to pick somebody who is a good father. Men make a difference. Men matter immensely to women and to their children, so there's a reason women are looking for men who are trustworthy. Now, the Gottmans have what they call a love lab. It's where they do research and view how couple interactions. And they found that women have 2 major complaints about men. Number 1, he's never there for me. And number 2, there isn't enough intimacy and connection in our relationship. Now, what do you think are the men's main 2 major complaints about women? Too much fighting and not enough sex. Well, these are actually really related, and they can be addressed through what we call attunement. See, the fights that many couples have result from men dismissing a woman's emotions instead of attuning to them. How do you dismiss a woman's emotions? And I'm going to say that this really applies to any relationship, whether you're a parent, with your friends, and with your spouse, is to not dismiss a person's emotions because you're ignoring their bids for connection, you're invalidating them. So dismissing a person's emotions is every time you try to fix them, distract them, minimize, mock, or ignore. This also applies to applies to all relationships, actually, the parenting ones too. When you're a parent, do not want to dismiss emotion. That's where a lot of guys are like, I never saw it coming. Well, you dismissed her repeatedly and repeatedly and repeatedly. So relationships are really about attunement. So be interested in the woman when you meet her, listen to her, and also be aware that every time you shut her down, every time you ignore her, or you do not attune to her, especially when she's upset, she will not feel safe with you emotionally, nor will she feel safe to be herself with you. And again, that applies to any relationship. So what women need to feel safe is we need men who are trustworthy, okay? So it means you say, you're authentic about who you are, you keep your word, and these are the things that ruin your trustworthiness. Dismissing her emotions, trying to fix them, intimidating her, not listening to her when she's talking, like tuning out and checking your email or your phone while she's talking to you, checking out other women when you're with her, keeping secrets, lying, and cheating. This trustworthiness is super important. And ladies, it's really important for us to start noticing if we feel a man is trustworthy or not, because we as humans do ourselves a great disservice by putting ourselves in environments with people who are not trustworthy. I think that men also want someone who's trustworthy. This book was specifically written to the man's guide to women, but I know that I have done myself a great disservice by putting myself, for example, on dating apps. Because when people interact online or in a dating app scenario, there is no trustworthiness at all. These dating apps don't screen anyone. Men are just swiping frivolously on everyone. As women, we want to be chosen. And a man who's trustworthy is a man who's read our profile. If it says, I'm looking for a relationship, and he's just trying to get in my booty, he's not trustworthy. And it's all these little things, like these little, exposing ourselves to like these little pains in the heart, these little disappointments. They're just not healthy environments. The same way on my YouTube channel, about 10 or 20% of the comments are really nasty, and these men are also not trustworthy. So I try not to read the comments because I want to be around men who are trustworthy. I want to be around men who keep their word, who don't blindside me, and who are not mean and nasty to me. So I like to watch like different YouTube channels. I watch a lot of different guys and that speak more in a healthy way about women. Trustworthiness is really important. So every time a man ghosts us, he's not trustworthy. If I, sent a message to a guy on a dating app and he waited 2 or 3 days to reply, that's not trustworthy. Instead of being like, how can I get this guy to text me back? Or how can I get this or that? Just notice this is not a trustworthy person. When you start to feel that, just realize this person is not trustworthy and really start paying attention. Do I trust this person? That's what we need to feel safe. And safety is a very important foundation for any kind of a friendship. There's some people who are not even aware of this feeling of needing to feel safety. They've never had it. So to them, relationships are about chaos and drama and this excitement that is unstable. But anyway, we're talking here about like healthy relationships and friendships. It's like to be trustworthy. When someone reaches out or texts you, get back to them. If you don't want to be friends with someone, tell them. Be honest with people, honor people's bids for connection, keep your word, be authentic, be trustworthy. That's the number one thing that women want, so that we can feel safe with you. And we have to feel safe with you to want to be sexual with you. Of course, there are always these outlier women that don't require anything. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the majority of women and healthy women. We need to feel safe with you. And the more we trust you and the more we feel safe with you, the more we can be ourselves. I think men need that too. I really focus on whether I'm a trustworthy, reliable person. To me, that's really important. That I keep my word, that I honor my word, that I honor my responsibilities, that I get back to people, that I don't ignore people, ghost people, that I'm respectful to people. And it's more about who am I, because the way that I act is how I feel about myself. I think that this trustworthiness is easier to get in people we meet in real life. People online are very callous and dismissive, and I think that's why dating apps are so harmful to people, because people just ghost each other and treat each other with such disrespect. I think when you contact someone that you've never met by phone, texting, messaging, emailing, on an app of any kind, LinkedIn or whatever, always remember that there's a person you're talking to. There's a person on the other side to be respected and honored, and a person who has feelings, and to be accountable and responsible. And what I've had to do, frankly, is remove myself from most online spheres. I don't have Facebook, I don't have Instagram, I don't have TikTok, and I don't want it, because people show up in a way that's untrustworthy, and it's not, doesn't feel good to me. That's why I'm not on any dating apps, because the men on there are not trustworthy. They swipe on everything. I don't feel chosen. I don't feel like they've read the profile, that they're sincere. They cancel their dates. So I think the online space is not trustworthy. Likewise, the manospheres are not trustworthy either. They're very angry with women, and men who are angry and hateful, like, oh, you hit the wall, spin plates, you never marry these women. Guys who talk like that, never marry women, they all cheat on you, I've checked out, passport bro, you hit the wall, you old prude, you cat lady. All of those guys are not trustworthy. Not trustworthy. So I just, just really noticing about, is this man trustworthy? And that's really your green light or your red light for further interaction with that man. The best thing we can do is be a trustworthy person ourselves, I believe, and eliminate access to ourselves from people who are not trustworthy. That's super important in creating community and any kind of friendship. Like, there has to be some workability. In Landmark, they called it word. Your word, our word, what we speak, says who we are. It's a leading indicator of us. Our word precedes us. If we just say things that we don't mean, then we're nothing. And that our words and our actions have an impact on other people, and to consider the impact we have on other people. I just think that this needs to be said. So guys, a lot of these guys like leaving nasty comments. Get a grip on yourself. You have to be able to down-regulate your emotions a little bit and have a little bit of emotional self-regulation to be a trustworthy man. You can't just be like erratically flying off the handle at a YouTuber or just swiping mindlessly on a dating app. You've got to have some intention and some purpose to be trustworthy. Anyway, I just found this very interesting. It wasn't like the man's penis or his muscles or his money or his status. It was trustworthiness, that the number one criteria that women look for. Can I trust you? Do I feel safe with you? And that means, like, do you care about me? Are you listening to me? Are you interested in me? Are you paying attention to me? So, anyway, thanks for watching my video.